to another pre-alpha playtest update video. My name is V, otherwise known as Frank, and joined with me is...
I'm Joan, one of the engineers in the team.
I'm Felix, art director on the project.
I don't understand. What's with the pause, guys? Felix will kick us off with some of the big changes to art that's happening.
The first thing we want to talk about is how excited we are to finally bring you a complete version of the map for the first time. Last time you played a game, you probably saw a first version of what eventually we wanted the map to be. And now we're really proud to deliver to you a fully complete map, every zone fully modeled and rendered.
I remember in the previous playtest, we only had one of the zones. All the areas of the map are now covered.
Some of the new zones that we've completed include construction area, which has a feature of having one massive building in the middle. There's the shipyard, which has a lot of shipping containers and secret shortcuts, as long as warehouses to explore. On top of that, we've really doubled down on the verticality in the map, which means that there's many ways you can go up and down, or you can go up and down the residential area and explore the rooftops with a lot of shortcuts. Last but not least, the Zero's Nexus, which is in the center of the map and also has interesting building to explore. I really love the construction area. And there's even some secrets in that building that are going to be really difficult to access. If anyone is able to crack the code, they'll be delighted by some of the secrets there.
All the enemies have art and unique designs that I think they look amazing. And we also have VFX for everything that make better representations on what are we seeing and make the game more understandable and more beautiful.
So alongside all the art changes and the map changes that are happening, we'll also be introducing what we call a hero-based skill tree. So hero-based skill tree just lets you customize your hero in different ways. So one of the key things about the hero-based skill tree, in the old world, gear gave you a particular stat. In the new world, gear does not give you any stat anymore. Instead, what it does is it amplifies all of the effects within that particular skill tree. Every hero will have 3 skill trees, one for their head, one for their body, one for their legs, right? And if you get a higher rarity piece of gear, let's say for your headpiece, now all of the talents that you spec into for the headgear will be amplified in terms of their effect.
If one of the specs was, oh, you get 10% more damage against enemies of a certain type, when you have rare gear on your head, now instead of 10 is 20.
And thirdly, there'll be what's called the Relic Hero Affinity system, which allows you to customize, depending on which hero you're using, which relics you can get from the map. From the prior playtest, it was actually very clear that people did not feel that hero progression was meaningful. This is why we introduced a hero-based skill tree, to allow you to go in and be able to customize how you want to play Drip or how you want to play Gloss or Shade in some big and small ways. We'll also introduce crafting into the game, which will allow you to customize which hero class of gear you would like to equip. We'll introduce Relic Collection changes. So this is basically beefing up the current Relic Collection system in a big way that allows you to earn meta progression rewards for collecting that season's relics.
So we've also added a new model for Drip, previously known as Flamey. So he used to shoot flamethrower, and now he's a graffiti removal robot converted from Zero's faction into a street artist, now shooting paint. On top of that, we've worked on a lot of new models for our enemy robots. The most interestingly includes 2 new boss models. One of them is the Charger mini boss. So he has a massive sword and jet thrusters. He'll do charge attacks and just kind of destroy you if you don't manage to avoid his attacks. And we also have the world boss, which is a giant lizard-like tank, shooting flames, shooting missiles at you, spinning his tail 360 degrees. We hope you're gonna have fun fighting him in the map. I think our intention is really to set ourselves apart with what most of the industry is focused on doing and really use all of our resources on art to create something really meaningful on a mobile game.
The genre we're tackling, which is extraction, is one of these genres where you players get a lot of customization. So we thought hard about what would be actually meaningful, given that we are a mobile-first extraction game, that it should stay simple to understand, but still allow that depth where players can go in and customize their various areas. And so this was really our answer to solving that issue of making hero-based progression more meaningful.
We had this challenge of we wanted to make heroes more unique, we want to give them proper progress and make players feel that, yeah, I'm doing something meaningful towards my heroes. Maybe you play more PvP, maybe you are more like a player that teams up and, and plays against some enemies, or maybe you just run around and try to farm different materials, different gear and stuff and extract, right?
The key goal here is we really want there to be gameplay and social emergence from whatever we design, right? So we talked about that there was 3 aspects of hero progression, right? We just addressed the first one, which is around the hero-based skill tree. The second is what we call the relic skill tree. So this one's slightly different than the hero skill tree because the way you progress it is not with hero skill points, but with extracting relics from the game.
Every season, it gets wiped and reset. We can give you more interesting stuff and it can still feel meaningful during the season because you're progressing, you're getting a bit of power, you're discovering new effects that maybe we cannot add in the permanent trees. So we keep that interesting, but at the same time, we make sure that the power scale doesn't get out of hand and the game becomes unmanageable, like it happens with many other games in the long run, right? We want always to keep this layer of someone joining from the first day should be able to play with someone that has been there for years, right? We want to allow those things to happen. While the skill tree from the heroes that is permanent has more quality of life features, has more damage against PvE stuff, has things that are not going to have a super huge impact when fighting with other players to keep it fair. The Relic skill tree has more of that.
So the third aspect of hero progression is what we call the hero relic affinity system. Imagine your community member, Legend27, for example, last season, he got all but 1 relic. And you're at the mercy of randomness because you don't know what relic you're gonna get. You might get a bunch of duplicates. So what'll happen now is that each of the heroes that's currently in the game will have a set of featured relics that if you play as them and extract relics, then there's a higher chance it's the relics that are featured for that hero. Once you extract a certain number of relics, there's a guaranteed chance you'll get one of the ones missing from that featured pool of relics for that hero.
We didn't have this frustration of you've been trying to find this specific relic for long and it's not coming up, right? And giving tools to you, the players, to find those easier. Sometimes in this kind of hero games, you have your 3-4 favorite heroes, and you stick to them because they are the favorite. But actually, there is a lot of joy in playing heroes that maybe you don't usually play and discovering new mechanics, discovering them a bit more. So I think this is also a good chance to, when you're trying to find this specific relic, try different heroes and maybe discover something new with them.
Let's move on to crafting. So Felix, you want to talk about crafting?
No.
Crafting, we're allowing a player to be able to craft a specific piece of gear for the hero or the class that they're playing. Now when you go into the map, each of the regions will have a slightly different drop table. So now depending on which class of gear you're trying to craft, you might have to go hunt and do activities in one area of a map versus another area. Of course, you could always go after another player who has gear on them and take their gear, but other than that, gear is going to drop much more rarely from the robot enemies in the game because crafting is now coming in a big way. So we're really excited we're getting this first version in for you guys to try out. And that's it, guys. We look forward to everybody jumping in and playing our next pre-alpha playtest. And
Dude, we just want to know when's the playtest.
Pre-alpha playtest 4 will happen on February the 5th. Okay, I think we're good.